Welcome back to the AntHole and Straight Up Gay Talk. This is part 2 of the conversation. In part 1, Herbert shared a story about a friend, one that led the discussion in an unexpected direction and opened the door to a personal revelation. We now return to that moment and continue the conversation without interruption. Enjoy.
The man is married and the wife is out of town. He had some balls, so he really didn't care anything about his wife. To let another woman come in, try on her clothes, then y'all gonna fuck in the bed in her lingeries and stuff, and she's taking pictures of it. That's low.
Well, I can't really say anything about that.
Yeah, Lord.
I can't really say nothing about that. I was not putting on her Anne Klein.
Oh, Lord, no, don't tell me you did that.
I did have a situation.
Oh, don't tell me you did that. Don't tell me you did that.
Okay, this is back in the day when I used to drink. This is when I used to drink.
We can all use that excuse.
No, I used to drink, so a lot of it, gets a little fuzzy. But I would put on her clean negligee.
And that's what she did too.
And
then what's so bad about it? She put it back in the drawer and folded it back and put it like in the drawer after they fucked it. That bitch was crazy.
I think I'm pretty sure he washed it.
I know he had to wash it after she left, and I know he immediately took that drawer and took that out and washed that shit and sprayed her perfume or something all in that thing, because I know they did get caught. I don't mean to cut your story out. I'm going back. She did get confronted because the woman flew all the way from New York to Los Angeles.
Oh my!
To confront this woman.
No, really?
Yeah, to confront my cousin.
That's a confrontation.
It was a very confrontation. And the woman told her, if you ever set foot in New York in my house again, I'm going to jail because I'm going to kill you. And she said, I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you. I'm not threatening. I'm just telling you. And flew back to New York that same night, that same day. She didn't do nothing but did that and went back and told her husband what she did. And the husband told her, but at that time she called him, and it was a bunch of mess. It was so good. That's messy shit. I was the relief person into the hearing of what was going on with her being messy. That was when they ended. But somehow he was going to get a divorce, and then she just completely stopped talking to me and just cut me off and went straight into him and just dropped me like a hot potato after all those years. All those years that we had been close, all those years that we've been talking, all those years that was going on until we really did not have coming back to each other or reunion or anything up until almost a year before she passed away. And she did that. I didn't do anything. And I was hurting. And when I did try to reach out, she would block me. It was like she was... So that's why I have a thing about women. I didn't have anything like that until that happened. As far as my being experienced with women after that, I was like one that knew that I was gay.
So do you have a large group of women that know that you're gay that are your friends?
Yeah, I have more women friends than I have male friends. I have one that's very close, but we're not close. She's never tried to get me in bed. She's never been like the fag hag. She was there when my mother passed. She and I worked together at one time. We meet up. If we don't, no matter what, we still meet up once a year to have some kind of meet and greet and meal, and we catch up for a year. We might not talk. Only thing that's helping us to keep the friendship like we've always had it in some kind of way is the idea we're a little closer because of Facebook. But there was a time that we celebrated each other's mother's birthdays together, because her mother's birthday was on the 14th, my mother's on the 13th of December, and we would always meet up we met up for 18 years. Sometimes we didn't have nothing to do for our mother's birthdays or had any kind of party. And if we did, we would go to each other's party and stuff to celebrate their birthdays kind of together for 18 years. We kind of like keep the tradition of we still meet up around that time every year. And she knows that I'm gay, and she's been in my life for all that time. She's never tried to make a pass. She never tried to take me off as being her boyfriend, and I never has used her like being my girlfriend and let's go here together. If we went out, and I could look at my man, she look at, and we talk about men, and she would talk and together.
Now, what I have noticed, some of the times that may, and you have to bring a female into the conversation, but what I've seen is that when it's the friendship, and let's say they don't necessarily have a man, then it's fine. But when the concept of them having a man comes into the play, either one, the man is
insecure.
You need to leave the fag alone. You got to leave the fag alone.
And
you
they
can't
choose
be coming here,
and they
for
choose,
whatever the reason is.
And women choose the dick over the man.
Yeah, or the concept of what the woman is seeing, because if she's your friend, then she's seeing your conquest, who you're pulling. Because like I would pull guys that were married, I would pull guys that were masculine, I would pull guys, had the muscles, had this, that could blend in to the society and look straight. And some of them were living a straight life. And she would see me having it. Because like I said, I could be friends with a flamboyant guy, but I was going to have sex with a flamboyant guy. So the men I was having were masculine. I know you just thought about Alex. Leave him alone.
No, Alex was masculine, and his because he's a European masculine.
Yeah, I would have masculine men, and the girlfriends I would have, they would see me pulling them in a sense. So when a man comes into her life, either one, the guy is saying you need to leave the fag alone. I don't want him coming over here for whatever reason. Either they don't have that much of a interaction with gay guys, and they're just assuming when he walks in, I'm going to be zooming in on his dick. Whatever the case may be, they may say it. But then I notice a lot of the times the female friend would be like, "No, I have to. I need to focus on the relationship some. So maybe we can't hang out as much." Because I did have that, and this one guy, I would sometimes be talking to him, and she would come in from work, and it would be like a pause if we're like at the table or something, and she would sort of pause, and you can see it in her mind what was going on, what's happening. I'm like, okay. Now, like I said, a lot of times I brought it on myself. Like I said, she did know about me, kind of snatching men up and stuff, but she knew that I usually wouldn't act on anything if they didn't initiate anything. But still, just in the back of her mind, I think it's just that, well, what if he is doing something? Or what if they want to do something? Because that was the 90s, early 2000s.
I don't want to expose a beard, and I don't really want to expose a couple, but when I was going with someone and I was madly in love, and they were madly in love with me, and he was going through a rough period in his time trying to figure out if he was straight or gay.
Is that the one that would pray?
No. I didn't know. I didn't have no relationship with him. I just went to bed with him. Shit. It was good sex.
Oh.
Actually, it was some of the best sex because he was letting us in a bit. I mean, he would just let it all go, and then after he get it done and everything, he'd get down on his knees and pray. I went through that for a couple of times. I think we had sex about 2 or 3 times. It was good sex. But we diverged about the story. Anyway, I really didn't want to talk about this story right now because in some ways, I find our relationship still very sacred. Mm-hmm. His wife does know that I'm gay, but she knew from the very beginning. And she knew about our friendship from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. But he and I were sexual friendships at the beginning.
Yeah.
So she took him away from me, I would say, or she didn't take me away. He just decided he wanted to live the straight life. Mm-hmm. But we kept our friendship and continue to this day. We are still close friends. We have not let years really go past us without us continue talking or something or communicating in some kind of way. Mm-hmm. He was like, we're soulmates, but I was able to allow him to get married and not fight for him. I don't fight for a nigga. It's like, if you want somebody, I never fought for somebody. It's like,
I'm sorry, what was that person driving, you were like, come back to me, that's not fighting for a man?
That was in my vulnerable weekdays. It was not.
But that was the first person. Was curious. Was that the first person you ever really been in love with?
That was the first freedom love.
Okay, explain that. Freedom.
Okay, I was in love. Men.
I mean, was that like were you just gay and you?
I was gay and we were living together. He was one of the first persons that I was living together.
Okay.
Love.
Okay.
We fought for his kid.
Okay, so I get the
We
freedom
fought for
of-
his
okay.
kid. We fought to have his kids come stay with us and all that stuff like that.
Oh, the kids came up.
Kids, I was taking care of kids and all of that. It was an interesting time. What I like about being homosexual, gay, however you want to say it, queer, is that I've had more than 9 lives in my 65 years of living, where I can tell you stories about I had relationships with men. I had one relationship where I was talking about with kids, and we kind of like was adopting his ex-lover's kids, and we became foster parents of his ex-lover's kids. And I became his mom, IHS worker. So I was working then, and I didn't have no work, and we was all working together. And he had at that time a landscaping business where he was fucking the woman and her husband because they were doing drugs. That was during the time of doing drugs, and crack was out and the whole thing. But he didn't do it. But they stopped doing all that together, and that was a wonderful, wonderful relationship until his sister came into it, and I became his sister's close friend, and we became confidant. And we'd go to the store together. We'd go shopping together. She had her old man that she was fucking, but he was kind of freaky because he would always flirt with me, and then she would always talk about having a threesome with me and her brother. She and I we were just like butter and things. She'd come out, I'd cook something, she'd cook something, we'd come over to eat and all that kind of stuff. It was like family. It was what it was supposed to be. But then what got in the way at that time was crack cocaine. We had stayed the night over to her house, and she was giving a party, and that's when the Crips and all that stuff was together. A whole bunch of shit. I like the guy killed behind her. And it was a drunken high thing. We fighting, and we were high, and it was like we took a hit, and I had got some money, and I'd got some work, and I had bought liquor, and we were high, and we were messing around, and she called me a faggot, and then she gonna hit me, and I took the bottle and hit her, and we started fighting, and there was a big brawl, and I had to jump out the window because people were trying to shoot me, and her brother was coming out, and so I could never be friends with her again. So that was the experience of a woman. I never had, like I said, I have now, since I've gotten older, I have experience of a woman who like in my late 40s, the person who used to braid my hair, she used to always want to have my kid. And she knew I was gay. She was always saying, I throw this pussy on you and you definitely had these kids. We were definitely going to have a baby. But we never went out anywhere. I was just openly, I never had those, I'm looking back, I never really had experiences with women because the only woman that I had was my cousin. And she fulfilled all those things that was going on, but she gave me the lesson about a woman would drop a man in a minute for another man. She would drop our friendship, our cousinness, all that was going to be thrown to the curb because if a man walked in.
The way I saw it, like I said, a lot of the times go to the clubs, the straight female would go to the clubs with the gay guy. One, they wanted to party, the music was better, they didn't want to get hit on. And if they decided they wanted to get hit on, that straight man would have that gay friend that he would go with, and then we'll give the gay look. Is she cool? She's cool. She ain't Glenn Close, or Sharon Stone dating ourselves. And the gay guy would be with the straight guy that his friend say, yeah, he probably wants to get laid, but, he's no asshole or anything. And they'll give the nod and they go do what they want to do. But if it's time where the girl wants to come and she just wants to party, she just wants to be left alone, usually the gay guy, even if he was going to hook up with someone, he would either say, I got to take my friend home first. They just usually wouldn't bail on the girl. And that's where that masculinity thing comes from, that whole chivalrous thing comes in. That even if the gay guy is just snap fingers gay, he wouldn't leave the straight friend that he took to the club. He would tell the gay guy, the guy that he was going to hook up with, I got to take her home, or you can help me take her home, and then we can hook up. But you wouldn't bail
That's
on
what we do.
So that was just something that you would sort of do. So, and that's what women would That's why a lot of women would sort of be that ride or die to a certain degree. As long as you don't fuck with their brother or their uncles, be ride or die with that gay male friend.
I never had that.
Because, see, I used to even be friends, because when I was friends in college with a gay woman, and I remember people saying it'll never work out. Now, in the end, it didn't work out, but I don't think it was because you were gay.
My whole thing, I was never really close friends with women until my late. I had my mother I was friends with. Me and women, I was too busy trying to be with men. It was like I had women on the side, we would talk. It was like I even had celebrity friends at the time. I'd go drink over to their house and thing, but I had never ever been anybody good Judy. I was never a good Judy because once my cousin abandoned me, I just never let a woman really get that close into my life. And I never had that, and I was never around women where I would do that. I was always around women until I came up here and got with my boy, and women just seemed like to be flooding my life. Women have been coming, and I've had women that talked about, but we have to revert back 10 years before I came here because I've been with him now going on 9 years. 9 years in this relationship.
Interesting. That's like 81 years in gay times.
So anyway, back before I got with him, I was in a polyamorous relationship where the woman knew that I was with her man, and her man, he did not hide it. He came out of the pen. He was my drug dealer. All three of us would have sex together, and then sometimes those two would have sex, and then he and I would have sex together, and then if it gets to the point we would just have sex together. At this time, I wasn't into fucking women, but I would finger her and while she's sucking his dick and shit like that. And I'd fuck him and I'd suck his dick and shit like that. But it went on for 11 months. It was interesting. It was interesting. I'd watch them fuck. She'd watch us fuck.
But y'all weren't, with the female, y'all weren't like hang out buzz, let's go to the mall afterwards.
Oh, hell no.
So you never had that friendship with a female other than that?
My cousin.
Your cousin, yeah.
Yeah.
And technically is your cousin, so.
Yeah. No, I don't do that with females. I ain't trying to do that.
Well, see, I mean, the
only other woman that I would go.
I can speak for other gays.
I would take my mother out and dress my mother, and we'd go to the store.
But that does not count.
But that's what I was going to say. But that doesn't count. But for as me going like, oh, let's go here and let's go there and do all that stuff. I'm not that type of man. I ain't that kind of a sissy. I've never been that kind of a gay man that I like to do that. I like looking at pretty women, and I've always had pretty women in my life. But for as me trying to say, okay, let's dress you and let me get you, I'm very particular about how I would like a woman to look. So if I'm going to dress you, I'm very much in charge of. I want to be in charge of it from head to toe. So that's when the gayness come out.
Now wait a minute. When I was saying going to the mall, I wasn't saying being the damn stylist. I'm
a stylist when I come to that.
I'm not
because
sometimes
I get mad. Sometimes I get mad at women. Why are you wearing that with that? You know you shouldn't wear that. But yet then I said, okay, that makes you feel good. Go ahead. But then sometimes that's when I don't. I have never been around. I don't go around where I'm taking pictures and doing all that kind of shit. Where we're gonna be sitting around and I'm looking at the goddamn.
Well, yeah. Now I've had the situation to where I've been friends with females. It wasn't to the sense that I said, "Oh, well, I'm gay. I got to get a female friend." It just sort of turns out that I just ended up being friends with.
I never had, but that's what kills me. Now gay women is different, but that was. But I never had a woman as really a close friend if it wasn't a working situation at first, and then it turned into a friendship. All the women either that I had close friendship with at the time, we still close friends, are married or have a man. So I never had that dynamic of all that kind. It was never that kind of I need you on my arm, the type of thing. They all knew that I was gay. I was never one of those flamboyant things. They were always, when we did go out, it was still like friends. But I had never been a flamboyant person, so I've always been a man who was around. I was raised around 3 women and my cousin. So I've always, whenever I was around a woman, it was just taught naturally to open the door for a woman or light a woman's cigarette at that time. That was just embedded in me from growing up. But for as me treating them any other special and paying for all their drinks and all, I don't know. Because women want to fool you and act like since you are gay and you're going, but you're a man, they want you to pay their drinks and all that shit. I ain't doing all that shit.
No, I never had that. We were, like I said, we're 10 years apart, so it was a whole nother thing.
It was a whole
from my experience with me. You know, I would pay for a drink, but then she would say, I got the next round.
Well, they didn't do that a lot of times. Back then. They didn't do that because they always thought because.
Or we'll sort of say, let's see what man we can get to pay for our drink. We might do that.
But see, I didn't go to the club. I was always around. My clubbing days was my wildest days out here in Los Angeles. It was basically all around gay men. The women that I was around at that time were gay women, except for my cousin at the beginning of everything. When she left, I had no other woman, and I was not looking for another woman to be around. And I also had my mother around, so I was taking care of my mother. So that took the woman's thing, because all my male friends would come over to my house, and that's like they love my mama loved them. They always would do things for my mama. Sometimes me and I would fuck sometime for about a week or so if I was in a relationship, and then for some strange reason I learned not to introduce every man to my mama, because then I just wanted to have sex with him, and then next thing I know, my mama, where's Tony? Where is he? You don't bring him around no more. And then I talked to Tony. How'd you get Tony? Well, Tony gave me his number before he left, when he was over here the other time. When he gave you a number? When you went to the bathroom, he gave me your number, and so. But I don't want to talk to Tony. Mm-hmm. And then the Tony pops up sometimes. So those are kind of but as far as me having a woman around me, it wasn't until I moved up here, going on 8 years ago here, that I had women friends. And I'm living a totally different, because all my friends were mostly gay men, and the women that I were with, they all had their man and was married, and so I didn't have to deal with any kind of interaction like trying to go out on a date or have to go, or they didn't need me to be the escort or anything like that. So I never had that. But
the only reason you have it now is because your partner has propensity for only having female friends.
And so I'm finding a different life, because he doesn't have, truly, he's not into gay lifestyle. He's into lonely, old, straight women, or a lot of them are not straight. A lot of them has had sex with other women. They kind of confided in me and told me all that shit one time. A lot of them have.
Well, but they're old, so I mean, they've lived.
They lived. And so, and I find out different things about them, because it's interesting being up here. But all on the onset of everyone that comes here, women, they consider themselves straight and looking for a man.
Yeah.
And my boy was talking the other day, and matter of fact, it was last night, there was a bunch of women were over, and he told me, aren't y'all glad to have a man around like this? Sometimes he's naive to me, thinking there's a man who's around, all around, taking other women. Y'all, you got us all around. Y'all, we got 4 men here at the house. They can do this for you, they do that for you. None of the women said nothing. I said, none of these women are thinking that they're proud to have us as their man. They're looking for a man. They're looking for a man, and they say, yes, Herbert, finally tell him that we want a man. It's nice that y'all are friends, but y'all ain't the kind of man we want. And so that kind of like hurt his feelings in a way, I think. But getting back to a scenario about him, and this goes into being a beard or friendship or whatever, how I don't like women manipulating men to get into their business. And gay men get into their business for no reason at all, women's business. And I've been noticing more, maybe it's because of my boy, or maybe it's because I'm just now being around women and how women drag men into things, especially gay men into things. And it's all because we're supposed to be their friend. How we get into it too, like, oh yeah, we saw your man. It's like, if he was sucking your man's dick, he wouldn't tell you that he saw your man down in such a place.
No.
But we would do that whole thing where we would snitch and tell where we saw her man somewhere, and she's looking forward for us to tell, or she's looking for us to when she go out to say, do you think he messed around? Oh, I hate that concept when they do that with the women that I've gone out with.
But see, comes to a certain degree, we bring it on ourselves, because we'll look at a guy and say, oh, we'll be with a female friend and we'll look and we'll say, yeah, he'll mess around. Or we'll say, yeah, he probably messes around. Or if the guy kind of looks at you, she's like, well, he was kind of looking at you. I said, oh, really? So we kind of do it to a certain degree.
But we, as men, know that, and I get into a lot of arguments about this, but I always believe, and I come up from an era that I could have had, and I did have almost any man that I wanted to when I was, because it was unspoken that you could actually, it was like get them drunk back in my day coming up and smoke some weed. It was like smoke some weed, have a drink, especially in Texas, drink some more, pass out. Then they go to the bathroom and you could tell the ones that mess around because they would come back with the pants unzipped. And or they leave the door open and you could see them peeing. But then they come out with the pants unzipped, and then they say, give me another drink, and they lay there, and then they've had the pants like that, and then all of a sudden you see the dick gets hard, and then you know that you can mess around with them. That was always a cue.
But see, with the women I've seen, and I think I get what you're saying, that sometimes women look for the gay guy to be their protector also. But I think to a certain degree, that's that whole chivalrous thing that a man will always protect a woman.
But as I was saying, when I was with a woman, I made sure she got an orgasm. Even if I was not satisfied, I made sure she would always have an orgasm.
Well, see, I'm not talking about that. I'm
going to break it down. I'm going to break it down how I was and how I figure most of the men who had messed around with other men who are gay or who messed around, it was DL. It was like, I'd make sure I'd bring some kinky shit. I'd play with her pussy. I would do everything that could be done. I'd make sure she would have a good orgasm. She'd be saying, oh, you here to come. I want you to come. I said, no, baby, I don't want to get pregnant. I don't want you to get pregnant. I'm good. I'm having a good time getting you off. They loved that. That was a mind fucking game.
Okay, I'm not talking about that.
What I'm saying.
I'm not talking about
the
that.
gay man. That's why I could figure that the guy who I was talking about going back was the argument. That she knew that her man was going after she got off and got out, and he done bought her all these pretty clothes and bought her the house and the fine car, and knowing that he's going off to get fucked or suck some dick. Because he wasn't getting fucked. He was totally a bottom. You could tell I knew from the very beginning I was coming, that's a total bottom.
Oh, see, I didn't mess with him. I was friends with him, but I didn't mess with him.
But he was a bottom. And when I really knew that he was a bottom, it was like he hit on me to go to this hotel with him because he had this thing where he would go from, it was like, back in the day, it was the good cheap motels and stuff back in the 80s and in the early 80s and all that stuff like that. It was Motel 6. Motel 6 had just came out, and you could get a room for like $40 or something like that. And it was easy for them to come up with $40. And you could come up with, if you came up with 10, if you talk about we're going Dutch or $10, okay, you ain't got no more money, okay, I put $30 more with, and you get a room. And you didn't need a credit card. You didn't need a credit card.
I never had that problem. Because, see, with me, when I knew I was with another bottom, when you get like two negatives and put them together, you can't push them together.
Well,
they just don't go.
That used to always happen too.
The magnets don't.
That used to happen. That used to happen too, where you meet up with somebody and you think, because you didn't really discuss it out, you just was happy to be with a man, and found out that you're a bottom and you have two tops, and what we're gonna do and what's gonna happen. Because you gotta remember, it's a different time than what.
Now I've had a guy. He thought that he was gonna do it, and he went down and he spread his legs, and I said, "Did you accidentally fall like that?" And then he got what was going on. He said, "Oh yeah, I lost my balance." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then he commenced then screwing me. So yeah, I don't do that. And then as far as with like women, I've never had that situation with women to where either we would go after the same man or something like that. We might have fun like talking about a man or something, but I never went with that. We were just friends to a degree.
I look at what happened in my sexual thing growing up when I was dating women and men because I didn't want a man who was not married or have something to lose. So, because I didn't want nothing to get out of my hometown that I was fucking around. And it's not the idea the town was so big, but the black community was, everybody knew everybody in the black gay community. So when I found out this person fucked around and that person fucked around, and everybody had a tight knit quietness about it. And once you was able to get accepted into it, you had to be quiet knit about it. So I like being in that little quiet knit society.
I was screened, like I said, I was not one. It was different with me because, like I said, I would have the females knew that I was gay, and they knew some of the guys that I was messing around with. This was like high school and stuff. They knew what was going on, but they kept it. And the guys, they knew that the girls knew because they would say, "Did you tell blah blah what we did?" I said, "Oh, she just figured it out." Well, she's not. I said, "No, she's not going to tell nobody. She doesn't give a rat's ass about that." So they would keep the secret, even though I wasn't one to have a guy and just broadcast it. I've never been that type of gay guy that would go broadcast it. That's why I was popular, but also at the same time, people knew I was a hoe. So it was people who thought I was having a certain guy, and I never had the guy. People who they thought I knew I didn't have one. People they didn't think I knew I was having them all the time. The women in my life and stuff, they knew, and so we just had that type of friendship, and they just happened to be women. But it wasn't that they went looking for me or I went looking for them, and we would just sort of hang out, and we just became good friends because they were like, well, I just want to go somewhere with someone. Now, they was from their end, they would say, well, I don't have that many female friends for whatever reason. And they will sort of explain to me that, well, I don't have that many female friends because either we don't get along, we don't click, or whatever that female thing is that gets the claws out. And they said, so they would say, I relate better with gay men. I don't get along with female that much. That's how I got maybe 3 female friends. The rest are kind of like maybe 2 or 3 gay friends.
Now,
because that's from their perspective of it. They just sort of say, well, I don't get along with women. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I get it. And as far as that protection thing that comes in, like with your situation where that individual decided he wanted to protect her and speak up, I think that's just something that's innate in all guys to sort of speak up.
Well, I think that's what gay women like about really if they get a gay man who actually is masculine. If a gay man, if a woman knows that a gay man is masculine, she wants him to be masculine all the way around. She wants him to open the doors. She wants him to do all the stuff that a man would do. And so so funny we get so gullible that we fall right off into it. Instantly.
I just don't think it's necessarily a gullible thing. I just think it's just something that
it's something like protecting a woman. It's like protecting a woman again because we always was as a kid growing up protecting a woman.
Well, yeah, that's just how you've been
raised.
But then don't get me wrong, I've had female friends too that'll get into a man to protect me.
I'm talking about the outward things about like I'm saying. Gay men will pamper a woman.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we'll pamper a woman. We for some reason I feel we overdo it. I feel we praise a woman more than the straight man praises a woman. I think that a gay man when a woman is out with a gay man. The gay man is out. Oh, let me get a drink. Let me go. He's always happy to go get the drinks. He's always happy. And she's sitting up there looking pretty, even if it is she's in a gay bar or whatever. It's like she's sitting up there, but you going out and getting the stuff like that. And she's sitting up there. We pamper them like that.
Oh, I don't know who you're talking about. I ain't never been like that.
Well, I've known a lot of men who have done that.
I would come to a woman in your situation that you're talking about. I would sort of come to a woman's defense, but to me, my perspective of that is that she's a friend of mine, and my concept of friendship is anybody can stand next to you when you're in the wrong, but it takes a real friend to stand next to you when you're, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. Other way around. I'm sorry. Anyone can stand next to you when you're in the right, but it takes a true friend to stand next to you when you're in the wrong. And in that situation where that individual decided to wear that type of attire, that is when I would even stand next to her and defend her if I thought that they were
now
doing
you brought
something.
you brought something up. Now you brought an attire in there because you know.
Well, I don't want to let it go because I don't know if you want people to know what's going on. But in that sense,
this is a friendship. This is a friendship, and I'm not gonna call any names in this friendship. But it's a friendship that's happened recently that's really have developed in a few months with another close friend of mine who happens to be gay. Not to mention no names.
Yeah, and I didn't mention names.
But in this course, I feel, is overcompensating for a friendship that should not be any of his business because it's a new friendship and he likes being in their presence, a woman's presence. Now, mind you, she's taking the place of another woman who was a close friend of his. And that woman found another man and left. Now, mind you, she had done that before and they didn't speak for a year or so. And then all of a sudden the man gets out of her life and then they become friends again. And now another man's in her life and he didn't drop her like, she didn't drop him like they did in the past, but their communication is different. Mm-hmm. So he's looking for someone, I feel, to compensate from that loss. And he has this other woman. They have a unique friendship. Like they've been buddies for years, and he's ready to defend her into the end on something that he really should let alone.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know. Like I said, I've known I had female friends. I had female friends that would fall in that category that you can tell just gravitates towards gay guys. That fag hag. I've had them, but I haven't had it to the point to where it was not. Okay. I did have a situation, and it's very interesting when you have a female friend, a straight female friend. They will ride or die with you. But I remember one friend, I asked them, do they think that it's wrong for me to be gay? And they didn't say anything. And I was like, well, what is your answer? And she was like, I don't want to get in an argument with you. And I was like, we won't get into an argument. And she said, well, yeah, I think it's wrong for you to be gay. She's not really that religious, but just from her upbringing and the concept of what she feels about it, she does not feel that it's right with what I'm doing. She supports it. And she likes what I do, in a sense. She likes to snap. She likes to read and all of that. They like that.
They like the
But at the end of the day, she was like, yeah, I think what you're doing is wrong.
And that's the same thing.
And it was an interesting dichotomy for me to have that friend. Because, like I said, she would get, if someone called me a fag, before I could say anything,
he was defending you
in that motherfucker's face.
But my whole thing, that's what my cousin used to do. But it's like, but what I'm trying to say, but when that man came in her life, my guardian angel, my protector, or however you want to look at it, just dropped me like a fucking hot potato because she wanted dick.
So to a degree, I see what you're kind of talking about, and it messed up our friendship completely. And she cried about. I mean,
she also didn't like the idea that I was gay because she always said when I really found out it's a sin. She telling me she's going to the church talking about it's a sin.
So it is interesting to have that straight female friend, or even to a certain degree. Now the male friend, I give them a little bit leeway if I have a straight male friend, because in their mind it's wrong anyway. And it's almost like you give that straight male friend a free pass. I give it to the straight male friend, but I won't give it to the female straight friend.
Something.
Does that make sense what I'm sort of saying?
In a way too, because I don't give anything to straight men. Because straight men truly. I'll be honest. I still go through this theory. I don't think it's no straight man just straight to bed. I think every straight man is straight to bed. It's however I want to. It's always in the back of my mind from me coming up, and when I first came out being gay, and it was in the closet thing. It's about how you get close to the man, how you could have that man, and a man can look at just having sex with another man as just sex, and not even think about him being gay, or not even think it's all about getting a nut. And the younger they are, the more easier to have. But it doesn't mean that the older one still doesn't matter, because sex is sex. And I still don't believe that bullshit that all men talk about. I've never touched a man. I think that's bullshit. That's lies. Because even what I'm trying to talk about, when you come up and people touch, and discovering bodies. And if you're around any friends or any young friends, men touch, feel to discover. And that's always happened through time and age. Now, far as they continue to do that and actually have this intercourse and all the other stuff that goes on with sex, that might not ever happen.
Well, then that's kind of that concept of what people say, oh, well, I wanted to be a fucking astronaut when I was young, too. So it's kind of like,
And that's what
it's like, well, yeah, I said I wanted to be an astronaut or this or that or a superhero, too, when I was young.
Yes.
So, but it's now that I'm an adult,
I don't do it.
No, I don't think I can.
And that's what actually needs to be said a lot of times.
So I don't hold that.
It's not about holding that. It's just the idea how it's being said and how it's being portrayed. When I know that you didn't touch my dick as a kid, but I'm keeping it quiet.
Well, like I said, I got around, but I didn't get around to where I can do a consensus and speak on about all men. But I'm just saying.
I'm not saying all men. I'm just saying the men that I've been around and the men that I have known.
Don't get me wrong. Like I said, if I had a dog favorite straight man, I can pretty much retire.
But as I was saying, in that period of time when I was with the guy and came out, and then we had this breakup. After we broke up, it was like I just wanted. It was like every man that I looked at, it was like I wanted them. I chased after people that I saw and at that time going to the glory holes. It was like I was going after that forbidden fruit, and I just had to have it. And I tasted it, and I just wanted it. But
so
that was
to me, to a degree, it wasn't so much that you were friends with females. It was just you were basically using females as a proxy for men at that time. Because I had female friends.
I didn't have no female friends. I was either fucking the girls too. I was fucking the girl, but I didn't have no friend. I didn't have no girlfriend. I didn't have a good Judy. I didn't growing up. I never had that, and I didn't have. And I don't call my cousin my good Judy. I just called her. She was somebody she was more like a sister, and I learned things from her. But I didn't talk about gay things or anything like that. We didn't have that kind of a relationship.
So you never really had a female.
I never really had a female friend until I started coming out here. And then when I got in with female friends that I thought was my friends, I just really seen all the nasty stuff that my cousin used to do to other women, and I would hear about it and I see that, and then all of a sudden the person I'm with gets caught up into that shit too. That's what made me realize that sometimes gay men go above and beyond to be with the woman, to be a friend, just to have, I don't know, it's just to be a protector or something.
I haven't had that experience. I think naturally the guy is usually going to try to protect the woman to a small degree, even if they're snap or
it's like I never have had that, and just to see it, it's just really mind-boggling to me to do it, because I'll be honest with you, I've been in the gay life, and the gays that I was around was all around men. I didn't want to be around no pussy until, like I said, after, and the pussy that was around after I came out and all that stuff was me having threesomes with a man. And I did those, knowing that I was going to get the man.
No, that's not really, because like I said, you can have that. I never had that female friend to where we went out on the prowl together.
And wait a minute, and I didn't do that either. But it was not a prowl. It was like the guy that I was dating, or he was at the time my companion. One of them was. He was like, quote, he wanted to be with a woman, and he knew the woman. He brought the woman in, and then the last one I was talking about, they were in a relationship. I mean, really in a relationship. They brought me into the relationship.
Well, no. So I don't think you've ever had that female.
No, I wasn't friends with none of those girls. Really, like friends, so, like kiki kaka. Let's go do all this stuff.
Yeah.
No.
So my experience, having female friends that kind of that ride or die sometimes. Usually they'll protect you too. And then sometimes you'll protect them. And sometimes that's just that masculine thing that do it. Now, I've never catered to anyone. What you saying, oh, I got the drink or something. I ain't never did no shit like that to any woman. Now, I might get a drink, but she's getting the drink the next time too.
But coming from my cousin, that's what, I was always trained. She trained me well, because they always wanted. I gave that illusion about being the man. She wanted me to be the most suave man that was around, because I was supposed to be the man that every woman, she wanted me to break every woman's heart and be the hoe and have the women calling, chesting after her and started shit. She liked that kind of shit. I swear, like I said, that little event I was talking about, her being in the bed with another woman's clothes on. So she wanted me to be like that pimp type, ride or die rough type of man. But I wasn't.
And then also, again, that's your cousin. It's just a different.
Yeah, so I don't have that. I never had
I
that.
just don't, because I mean,
I don't have that
my
dynamic.
cousins knew, some of my cousins knew, and we were friends too, but we're cousins. So I can't, it's different than with, let's say, my
people
other that I was.
some people suspected things, but no, I never had.
Yeah,
a woman
so you've never had that.
So when
I
I see this dynamic goes on, what's happening now, and where this man
you're
is
kind of the
defending this woman.
outside looking into that thing.
It's me saying like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like it's been going on for a long time. So it's like,
but the person that you're speaking to has, has a propensity to be with women due to probably a more maternal factor also. Type of thing,
well,
and then a concept of their interpretation of certain men.
Okay. The person I'm talking about is a gold star.
Is what?
Gold star. I guess.
What the hell is that?
He's never been with a woman. He's never had sex with. The only vagina he's ever touched in his life is coming out of his mother. I think they call them gold star members.
I ain't never heard of that before in my entire life.
I think that's what they call them.
You just made that shit up.
No, I'm serious. It was something. I remember that was something they used to talk about, where a man he's never had sex with a woman or never been with a woman in any kind of way, in any kind of capacity, except coming out of his mother's womb.
And that's called. I'm going to go to ChatGPT and look at
Check
that.
that up. I would like to know, but I think that's what they call it, gold star members.
I never heard of that. I never heard of it.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever? Well, no, you have. You've been with a woman in a way.
Don't be telling people that. What are you doing?
We'll say that story for another time. But
oh, my pearls. Clutch a pearl moment. But yeah, so I do know what you're talking about. I've had relationships with women, straight women. It's interesting and good friends, ride or die type of thing. It was always that something in the background to where they wouldn't trust me with their man. I didn't really give a damn about them being with mine, if that came to it. Also at the same time, because I was friends with this one woman, and she was kind of a fag hag, and she had this guy that she was dating, and he was on a soap opera. And I knew of him because we were running across each other at the gym. And one time he came to work and wanted to try to give her something. And then I was like, oh, well, so-and-so was here. And it was in a thing where it was like some other people around. And I mentioned something that he was doing with his career that really wasn't out there. And when I said it, Miss Stain actually walked up on me. Like, how did you know that shit? I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, girl, it was in the Soap Opera Digest. I was like, Jesus Christ, girl. And when I talked to her about it, she was like, well, yeah. She said, I love you and all like that. She said, but it's that little thing in the back of my mind thinking that you will get him.
Well, that's how I'm fucking insecurity.
And she was like, because she's like, I see how these guys look at you. She said, I just see it. And she said, I see it with some of my other gay friends. She said, they just...
That's her insecurity.
And I was like, well, one...
And that blew your fucking head up. That was an insecurity. You know, you left out there like, you thought hair back, like, oh yeah, bitch, I can still have your man. You right, I can have his ass. So go ahead.
It's always in the back of their mind. And so and the only reason I'm saying that is being a friend with a straight woman, you have to understand that probably would be in the back of their mind. So you don't really become the best of friends. You don't come as close friends as you think that you possibly are.
Okay.
That's one of the problems with that type of relationship.
Okay, so I didn't have that kind of, the kind of relationship that I have with my straight women, friends who are married. They know that I am not interested into their men. First of all, the men are not my type that I even want to look at or think about seeing naked. The other one is too old to even think about, and I look at him and I say, what she's doing or what he's doing to her or what they doing.
Are you talking about now or before?
I'm talking about now that we still friends. I'm still close friends because it was never any kind of like I was saying that type of relationship. They were still ride or die for me. They know I was gay, but they had their men out and their men like me as friends, and there was never no jealousy or anything like that. They would come put their arm around me, hug me. I'm so glad to see me. Come sit down, talk, come watch the game. Because I always like, sometimes I go between sports, so I watch a little sports. I'm not really following shit, but I just keep up enough to have a conversation with people. And we'd have a conversation. He'd fill it in. We'd have a few drinks. I even gone out with them, with their husband and boyfriend, and had drinks one time with them without her being around. But far as they thought that I was going to have them or they wanted me, that was never, ever, ever in my mind or their mind either. We were just like friends. So I didn't have
in the man's mind, you're saying.
In the man's mind and in her mind. Matter of fact, she would say, "Go take my husband." At one time.
But this is when you were older, right?
Well, yes, I never had those things when I was younger and when I was in my youth, I was fucking women, so I didn't have that whole thing where it was like until I was 26 years old. Till I actually moved out here.
Well,
even when I was going overseas and all that other stuff that was going on in my life, I had a girlfriend. I had somebody that I was like writing back and forth to and talking to and writing love letters, and she couldn't wait to see me and I couldn't wait to see her, knowing I'm over here sucking this man's dick and I'm having these crazy affairs and stuff, and I'm playing around in Italy, and I had a girlfriend at the time.
Okay, so yeah, you haven't had that female friendship type of thing. So to a degree, I get where. So when I see you're looking at it and you're not understanding it.
I don't understand.
I never ran across that where that gay guy caters to that female straight friend. I just haven't had that. I haven't seen that.
But I don't necessarily cater to them. But you know, that's just my whole thing, and we never look at it. I never look at it like I'm being overdoing anything. I'm just doing it as friends, and so it's like the last time I went out with one of their friends. I went out with we go, like I said, we meet up every year. And this year when we met up, she paid for everything. Wouldn't let me get in my pocket to get anything, and we drank and ate and did all that. And it was not to even think about it. And we went our separate ways, and we do our little texts every once in a while and move on. I'm not in her business. She's not really in my business. We don't let too much of that clash and all that shit. And we've been friends for over 30 years. And the other one that I had is we were writing partners, and her husband and I became so close. But far as I wanted to see him naked or have sex with him or anything, that was like, oh, hell no. And she knew that too.
Because some of it, I think, is, to me, if it's anything, it's been the other way around. And like I said, I'm not speaking for women. Sometimes women see gay guys, especially if the more snap they are, they revere them to a certain, not to the sum of bowing to them and genuflecting to them, but there's like, you don't give a rat's ass what society thinks about you. And it's like, I love that. You're basically telling society to kiss your ass. You'll have whatever man you want. You're not genuflecting to the mandates of what society is telling you. And sometimes women like that because, the way I understand it, women growing up are given a template in life of what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to graduate, this is the career you're supposed to have, and all like this. You got to marry this man, you got to have the kids, you got to do this, you got to have the nuclear family, you got to stroke that man's ego, you can't make more than him, and all like that. And then when they see this other person coming in that's a man, that one is looking at them butt naked and don't want them and see them for who they actually are. Like when I look at a woman, I'm not seeing their tits or their pussy or anything like that. I'm seeing the person. I know that they're a woman because visually I see it. But I'm not looking at the vagina, I'm not looking at the tits. And that gets them to a certain degree. It's like, you actually fucking see me. And that is what I love. On top of the fact, you don't give a rat's ass to what society is saying about you. You're telling your parents to go to hell. You're telling the pastor to go to hell. You're telling the person at work to go to hell. You're telling the men that's looking at you, yelling at you to go to hell. And you're standing your ground. And that's what they look at. They revere us to a certain degree because we tell motherfuckers, a gay man, a gay person in general, is basically telling society to kiss their fucking ass. That's what we're doing. Now, sometimes we do it well, sometimes we don't do it well. And I think women, they see that and they love it because they know that they have a template to follow and we have a template as a man that we're supposed to be following also. And we're like, no, I'm coursing my own thing. And women like that. And women like that, I think.
But that's showing us a different kind
but
of
they
strength.
still think that we're going to go to hell, though.
But it's still a different kind of strength. Women like to see a strong man no matter what.
But you are being strong. Even if I'm
Like I'm saying,
you're being strong.
And that's why I said women like to see that.
My ass.
Women like to see a strong man. That's why gay men like to see a strong, like Dominique Devereaux, that type of strong, sassy.
Oh, yeah, we love that.
We love that. And that's what a woman, but it's the opposite with a woman with a gay man because she likes that, what you were talking about. But my whole thing is, how can a woman know? She knows that, like I was saying, the piano player. She was dressed. She's always was dressed to the nine.
That I don't understand when women will go and do that. That's why I said. I mean, if that's their arrangement.
But that's what I call grown folks arrangements. Let's get to that. That's getting because it's grown folks arrangement, but yet she knows that he's gay. She only have sex with him maybe once in a while. Maybe not have sex with him until maybe a year for just appearance. But is she having sex with anybody else? And then it goes to the point that I've known some women talked about, quote, like I said, I get a lot of talk from women because somehow women I'm around want to tell me everything, but I'm not close to them. But the women that I'm around will talk, but they don't like having sex. And this woman had the nerve to tell me that her husband had too big of a dick and she couldn't take it and she didn't want to have sex with him and so she always would avoid having sex with him. And so she always would pray for him to go off and get a girlfriend or something like that to have sex with because she didn't like having sex with him.
I just want you to know, that's never been part of my vocabulary, too big.
Well, I want to tell her that most gay men don't even think about too big.
I don't even know what that means. It's almost like I don't even think that's correct English.
Okay. So she didn't want to have sex with him because it was too big for her to take. And she couldn't get no pleasure.
Which is so interesting. I mean, you got something that the size of a watermelon that can come out of your motherfucking vagina, but you can't take a dick.
So she couldn't.
Now, I guess some people do have now women who have pain and stuff, with sex and all like that. I'm not talking about that, but I'm just talking about in general. I'm trying to say.
In general, I'm finding that a lot of women have a lot of stuff about dealing with sex.
Well, technically, a woman doesn't need a big dick. I mean, it's just the nerve endings is just right there. So, I mean, it's there
are other parts that you can hit if you go up a little bit further.
But for her pleasure, it's the nerve endings there.
It's really in the frontal part.
Yeah, it's in the front. So she doesn't need a 9-incher.
9 inches is like anything else. Anybody, it's the challenge.
Like I said, I always think
the bigger the dick is, the more the challenge is. I can take that, and I can pleasure that person as well as pleasure myself by taking this big dick.
I mean, I had it when I was younger. I don't want it now. I've had the 15. Don't be coming at me with no 15 now. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? I had damn bad.
Why is this bitch sitting up here lying to me right now? I mean, this person is lying. I had to call him a bitch. I had to call Terrell a bitch. It's like this man been talking about how he been taking dick all his life and what's been going on.
I don't want to.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. He's not. I'll be honest with what I've known from him. He's not really a size queen. He'll go from a size 3 to a size 15 if we just talked about.
Alex did not have no 3.
Why you call it? I didn't say it had to be Alex.
Why you talking about him?
I didn't bring Alex's name up there, but I'm just saying you could go from 3 inches to 15, and so you don't really care. I don't understand that. That's not in my mind, but it doesn't bother you.
It's the man.
But that's what I'm saying. So if a man with 15 inches and he comes up into your life right now,
I don't want no 15-inch dick right now. I would think it's a damn python, and I'll probably beat the shit out of him pulling that out of his pants. Don't come at me with no 15 right now. Well, you know what? I ain't had a sex in a long time, so you might can come at me with a 15 right now. But like I said, once I start kind of having sex, don't be coming at me with no damn 15.
So that's why that woman didn't want no damn 15 either.
Well, I'm not a bottom. Well, she can give birth.
But that's only when life starts, the body changes and do contraction. It does not on a regular basis. A woman.
Well, you know what? I cannot be talking about. I apologize to the world. I cannot be talking about a woman's anatomy because, like I said, y'all, it's a lot of stuff
There's
down
a
there.
lot of stuff you cannot.
There's a lot of stuff down there. But like I said, something the size of a watermelon that can come out of y'all.
But to say the least, I hope you picked up a lot of stuff about being beards and. We
ain't really talked about no damn beards.
We have not.
You've been talking about your damn whole your bio.
And yours too. You gave a whole lot of tea.
No, I didn't give no tea.
Yes, you did.
Sorry, your ass got shit still brewing over there. I'm talking about me.
But we're going to do a part B on this one here. Thank you for tuning in to the AntHole